Hey, Terry Bean, another fun episode of Business Growth Time. Today, Janet and I are going to talk about entrepreneurship, the good, the bad, and the ridiculously ugly that most people don't even talk about. But we got you.
True.
We're going to tell you how it is. So, with me, as always, the lovely, the talented, my high school pal. We should break that old picture out one more time. Janet
It's
E.
been a while.
Johnson. I have to go with entrepreneurship, right?
I was gonna say if you don't go with entrepreneur, I
It's
was
it's
gonna.
I know it's easy. It's
We probably used
excellent.
that one in the past, but that's
I
okay. That's okay. We're
well,
getting to 100 episodes, so we're
maybe we used entrepreneur. It's different.
aha
That's okay.
entrepreneurship. I like it. I like it, Terry. That's honestly it's been a topic that's come up for me a lot lately, and I think this is good. I really like what you said in the beginning too about the ugly. There is ugly. I mean, people don't want to talk about, oh, we're an entrepreneur. We have the greatest lifestyle. Look at us. Look, we work from home. We work whatever hours we want. And that is the benefits. But, there's challenges to it. I agree.
Yeah, you know what? When I suggested this topic, I believe I used the phrase "getting your teeth kicked in" as an
Yes, you
entrepreneur.
did.
Because I mean, let's be clear. That happens every bit as much, if not more, than the big wins, right? And when we're on social media, we're not really talking about the teeth kicking. We're talking about the celebration because that's what we're looking for, and that's what other people want to talk about. The reality behind it, though, I don't think we dive into as much, and maybe we should. Maybe we'd get more likes and comments and sympathy and respect and conversation going about this side of it. I don't know, Janet. One of my biggest pet peeves of Facebook is if I post something about cats because you love cats, or if I post something about my kid or my dog or whatever the family's doing at the apple orchard or whatever. The likes, comments,
Oh,
loves,
I've never had so many likes and loves on that
loves.
other than the kitten pictures. Yes,
Kitten
exactly.
pictures, right? Everybody loves. If you post something about your business, man, and it's like if there was a cricket emoticon, maybe somebody would hit that. Like you're supposed to be my friends, my family, the people that care about me, and isn't my success important? And I'm not the
Mhm.
only one because I watch all kinds of other people do the same
I
thing.
hardly do
Two or
any
three
posts
likes.
for that. Yeah, nowadays. I mean, once in a while it will be, and I can get a lot when for instance, have done my meetup group and we take a selfie picture,
You do,
and then we
yeah.
have a whole bunch of people in the back, and people like that because it's a selfie picture and it's fun. You know what I mean?
And
So
you're
the
tagging a
fun type
bunch of
things.
people, and it's
That
going
too.
out to a
Yeah.
whole bigger
True.
audience.
True. Good point. Yep. Yep. So you get a bunch of, but if it's just you saying, "Oh, I don't know. I was just featured on a podcast, or I was just something like that," because that's some of the things that I posted. Yeah, you get a few. It's
It's
nothing
like
exciting.
but why don't we support? Why don't we have a better ecosystem, which is a
Yeah,
really fancy E word, but why don't we have a better entrepreneurial ecosystem even amongst the people? Because I'm sure, like you, like me, a lot of your friends are entrepreneurial and doing their own thing too, right?
tons of business owners and tons of entrepreneurs. I mean, back when I started on Facebook, I was in the network marketing space a little bit. Not fully, but just kind of, I did on the side some network marketing. And I have a lot of connections that I did with that group of people. So entrepreneurs is like 80% of my friends, you
Yeah,
know?
right. And so they're out
Mm-hmm.
there in the grind doing their thing too.
Yeah.
And so these are the people that are actually seeing your posts. So you would think there'd be some reciprocity. All right. So lesson one: if you see a friend post about their business or something, show them some love, man.
Like or comment or love or just,
Share
yeah,
it.
that's
Do
a good point.
something.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go. So I want
Good
to I
point.
want to I want to see that happen for our little world, our little business growth time people, man. If you
Yep.
something, Ernie, if you've got something that you want shared or liked or whatever, post it in the group and let us know and we'll like it and share it because I think that's really going to be an important thing
I
because
like it too.
that's
Yeah,
that's
I
how
think
we
so too.
grow. That's how we
Yep.
get the message out. So
Hmm.
that's one like little rant area, not the downside of the business. Let's talk about the ups and the good, as it were.
Yep.
You just
Yeah.
got done telling me that you landed 3 new clients. That's flipping awesome. But when you're a solopreneur like yourself, you don't even have anybody to go hit the gong with in the sales office or high five at the water cooler. So,
Well, Connie works for me, so yeah, and we did have a team call last night with Zoom.
okay,
So it was, it's very. I have a couple. I mean, Connie obviously is happy because she's only part time, and so she's actually going to get more hours now
go
because we
Connie.
got
It's your birthday. Go
So
Connie.
exactly. So she's got to be happy when we get new clients. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's like, yeah, it's great, and it's let's back it up. I look at my business as what I get excited about when I get a new client is actually, it's kind of funny because new clients, I love that we're going to be able to start a whole new brand and see what we can do with them, and see what results we can get for them. So that's one piece of it. And then on my business building side of it, I look at that now, okay, now I'm making a little more money so I can invest more in my business. So one of the things I'm going to be investing in is more Facebook ads. I always love to invest in Facebook ads. I'm a big believer in it because I sell it. But, you have to have X amount of money coming in. So A, you can pay your bills. B, you can pay your employees. And C, you can pay for those extra things that you want to purchase. And so because of the influx of new clients and income that I have coming in, now I'm going to be upgrading what's called Sprout Social. And I'm also going to be going into a new email platform that's a little more expensive called Drip. And then I'm going to be investing more in Facebook ads because now we can take our money that we make and invest versus the struggle of, and I've had my ups and downs. And if we're talking to this audience and they haven't had a up and down in their business where they maybe lose clients, you're lying to yourself. I mean, it happens to all of us, and where sometimes you go, oh crap, I have this overhead. How am I going to keep paying that overhead and keep the influx? Fortunately, with my business, I have an ongoing system where they pay me month after month, and we have an ongoing base. But you can lose clients. You can have clients pull back on you. I had one client cut in half. They decided randomly that, nope, we're going to do this and we need to and we're going to bring it back, but they haven't told me when. Mm-hmm. So it's just an interesting fluctuation. And if your business doesn't run this way where you have something that you can count on ongoing, you need to figure out something ongoing, because that's one of the things that I've really looked at with my company, and I know I'm going on, but it's good points, is that I have two sides of my business. And in the next podcast, we're going to be talking about the launch of an ongoing course where I'll be getting monthly revenue. And I get that with clients, but I also want it with another side of my business. But if you don't have that,
especially
and I know
when you can build something that you can sell while you sleep, right?
Yes,
that you're not selling at all, right? The web sells it, people find it, and you created it once, and it's residual income time after time after time. That's
you got it.
Important element.
And good. I mean, all these, either it's that, but it's also just knowing you have. It's kind of like your paycheck. We don't work a job, but we still have bills to pay. We still have a mortgage. We still have, and it's even worse when you start bringing, not worse, but it's better, but it's more obligation when you have employees and people that you have counting on your income. So that's, I think, something to, if you're going to go to that next level, which you should in your business, and scale your company so that you're not doing all the work yourself, but you just need to know that money is coming in. And I know many entrepreneurs that fight the battle month after month after month and just wonder, where's the money coming from next month and next month.
Absolutely, especially if you're project-based as opposed to campaign-based,
exactly.
right? And you were talking about kind of having those ongoing, hey, we're going to sign this 12-month agreement. You're going to pay me X amount of dollars. And there's good news there, because that customer could say, you know what, you've been kicking ass on this thing and we want you to do this thing. And all of a sudden that campaign price goes up a little bit. But there's bad news there too, because all of a sudden they could say, you know what, you've been kicking ass on this thing, so we're going to pull back because we don't need any more of that, because we still have to deliver what you've brought in. And all of a sudden it's like, we don't need more marketing, we need more delivery. And you're like, wait a second, you're saying that I did such a good job that you're pulling my income away from me?
Had that happen a few times. Yep.
Of course. And it's counterintuitive as it is, but it happens to a lot of people. And so campaigns are great, but not fail safe. And projects are even worse, especially when you're the person delivering on the project. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Finally got a project. Woohoo! Now I got to spend all this time delivering on the project. Who's out hustling to get that next project? You're not, because you're busy delivering. And so
that's the issue with a lot of entrepreneurs. You're exactly right. The delivering, so then you get busy. Well, and it's not even if you look at my husband as a contractor, he does the same thing. He's on the job, on the project, working hard to get that done. And then, so it's a project mode. And then you don't think about the sales for the next one, and then you have the lag time.
Yeah. Because I've never, I don't want to say I've never, but the amount of times I've seen someone walk in, talk to a prospect, and then walk out with a check in that same day. When does that happen? When does that happen? And can I have more of that? Because I like that. I don't think it exists, though. And realistically, nor should it, right? I mean, I joke because I would be a better salesperson if I was a better buyer, right? When I buy things as a consumer, I research, I think it over, and then I make a decision. Right? Rarely do I go in, buy something on the spot. And I'm not talking about a pack of gum, right? I'm talking about a TV or a watch or a car or something that's going to actually have some meaning in my life. I am the opposite of impulsive. Good salespeople have to figure out how to overcome that. I was at the jewelry store.
So funny. Yeah. Okay, let's hear this story.
I was at Jared yesterday, and I was only there to get my ring certified, because every 6 months you have to make sure everything's good.
Okay.
But I was like, well, I gotta need an idea for my wife. Christmas is coming, right? So what am I looking at? And my sales rep that's there is super territorial, and it's always funny when anybody else comes up. I'm like, hey, I'm with her, man. You want her ire? You go ahead and keep talking to me, but she will come over and pee on you because she is marked me as territory, right? And that's a horrible analogy, but that's how.
So funny.
I guess you would pee on me. Isn't that how that works? Anyway, this is weird now. Way to make it weird, Terry. Good job. Anyway, so the sales rep I was talking to is like, hey, stay away from my customer. And he said it joking because he's obviously got a good relationship with her. And she's like, oh, please, good luck. The last time he was in here, I had to beg and borrow and negotiate and work my butt off to get him to buy this thing that I know his wife likes. It was a nice blue diamond ring, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're right, because I didn't really want to spend $1,500 on a ring for because it's a ring. It just doesn't make sense. So, but she's right. I am a hard person to make a buying decision, which when someone says I have to think that over as a salesperson, yeah, I totally get that. That's how I go through it too. So I just walk out the door. I don't even apply any pressure or use any alternative closing techniques or try and get further commitment. I'm just like, oh, well, they said they had to think it over. They probably do, right? That seems like truth to me.
I feel like everybody, we could have a whole call or thing about sales, but I do feel that, like, for me, if I'll know immediately if I'm going to buy that. If I see a top, a cold shoulder, as you know, I have about 40 of them now.
You are cold shoulders.
But if I see one, especially clothes shopping, that's just like, I see something I like, I buy it. It's the way I am with clothes, at least. But even with the coaching program I spent a lot of money on last year.
You did, yeah.
I knew I was going to buy it the second I heard about it. I knew I was going to have to buy that. But I did take time to, not much though, to investigate a little bit and learn more and kind of get an idea of what it was more. But so I am a researcher like you.
Did you compare other, but you didn't look at anything else? Okay.
Nope. I felt right. When I feel it's right, I go with it.
That's cool.
It's the way that, I don't know. Even yesterday, that Sprout Social did a call. I used their program. It's a social media management tool that's really, really quite good. I use it for reporting systems and all that kind of stuff. But I have the lowest level, and they did a call with me. And when I left there, I kind of thought about it. I'm like, do I want to pay more money for this? But the more I thought, it only took me, I knew hanging up that call, I'm like, I think I'm going to upgrade to the next level. So it's kind of one of those things. I think everybody knows in their gut right away if they're going to buy it or not. It's just a matter if after they think about it, if they do their research or whatever. Some people need to do that research more and that kind of thing. And that's all about personalities. So
I've been listening to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and it's the Earl Nightingale condensed version of it. So it's about 55 minutes, and it's on Spotify. And if you haven't heard it, listen. Earl Nightingale's got the smoothest voice to ever, right? Just listen to him.
I know.
And then what he's talking about is amazing, because Think and Grow Rich is such a powerful book. And Napoleon Hill worked with a guy named W. Clement Stone back in the day, early 1900s, who had this phrase about definiteness of purpose, right? If you're definite, right, absolutely certain of where you're going, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, decision-making becomes a snap. You become really focused on what you're going to do, then you know whether this is going to help you do that or not help you do that, right? And if you're definite in what you're doing, you'll be like, okay, yeah, this is going to help me, and so I'm going to do this. And they say that the people that are really decisive, make quick decisions, are in a little better phrase, right? People that are successful make decisions fast, and they leave that decision slowly, right? Whereas other people make the decisions really slowly, if at all, and they switch decisions all the time. Really, really interesting note for entrepreneurs. If you know where you're going, make the decision and stick to it.
There's nothing that drives me more crazy than people that go hum, because I am my phrase. It's just do it. Just do it.
You should patent that. That would be a good
really.
phrase, right?
I know.
That's brilliant.
It's my phrase, only mine. Yeah.
I didn't even know you had a phrase. How cool. Put it like on a sneaker or something.
Yeah, maybe that's a great idea.
You get licensing rights for that phrase?
That's good. That's like my favorite saying ever, because I do think your gut knows. Even though maybe, let's not talk about the hair product that I just got talked into by the guy in the little mall, like that was one that I knew walking away. I'm like, that guy got me because he's a good sales guy. But that was one I'm like, whatever, But bottom line is, I really do believe that entrepreneurs need to, if they feel it in their gut, they need to just take action and try it. Why not?
I think
you can fail. I mean, what's it hurt? Right. We can all fail. We've all failed. And if you're an entrepreneur, you've got to realize that you will fail, but you learn from it.
I can't tell you how many times I have a conversation with somebody, whether it's strategic planning or, a conversation I was having about pricing some of the products that we have this morning, and saying definitively, this is what these numbers should be, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. In my mind, we've got to make it simple. We've got to make it really easy for the sales reps to be able to remember it. Yeah. We've got to make it real easy for the customers to be able to communicate it to whoever else they need to share it with. It's got to be crystal clear and simple. And I said, and I'm willing to be totally wrong. So if you've got a better idea, tell me. But right this minute, my clarity on this says this. So I I'm always willing to be wrong. Rarely am, but always willing to be wrong. And I think that's an important attribute, because one of the things that, while you need to be definite and decisive,
That's kind of funny because I feel the same way.
you also have to be
Rarely am, but I will.
right.
We all make mistakes. We all
We
do.
make
But
mistakes, no
Mhm.
question. I've made like 3 or 4 this morning.
Oh, this morning. I was gonna say, in your life. Okay, Terry.
Right. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, right. I mean, and own those, right?
Mhm.
Own those. My father, business guy for a long time, was a Herman Miller, the office furniture company, right? Did a lot of space planning, office design, interior design, furniture sales, whatever. One of the favorite lessons he taught me was, you run to your customers with bad news, you walk to them with good news, right? If there is a problem, you'd better be the first person telling your customer that there's a problem, because we make mistakes. So if you can own it and talk about the solution and how you're going to fix it and make it better, I loved that advice. Probably some of the best business advice I've ever received.
Love it.
So
I think we have covered a lot with entrepreneurship. I do want to ask you a question.
yes.
So, because this was asked on Facebook and I thought it was really good. If you were to do it all over again and you were to give advice to somebody, a brand new entrepreneur, what would that be? What was maybe a mistake and what was a win?
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, I wrote an interesting blog piece a while ago about the 11 things that people at startup need to know.
Okay.
And I mean, it was one of the most read posts I've ever had on LinkedIn. It's thousands and thousands of views and 500 likes. It was really well done, evidently. I didn't know. So the couple of pieces of advice that I have for people that are thinking about getting into this is make sure that you're value oriented, meaning what your values are and what you want to be, and figure out what that culture is and what that business is going to be like and what the voice is, and all of those things come from you, right? And they're clear and they're communicated, because they say your vibe attracts your tribe, and that is exceedingly true. So understand what it is that how you want to be perceived in the world. But more importantly, in terms of value oriented, make sure that you provide significantly more value than you charge for, right? You've got to have a cost equation that the people that you're dealing with feel like it's a win every single time they deal with you. And so pricing has always been a real difficult thing for me. I have a long history of being in one of two boats. I charge too little and do way too much, or I charge too much and don't do enough.
I think the first one is the typical.
And it happens all the time. But in the same breath, if you're doing it that way, at least you've got the opportunity to have some ongoing relationships and get some good referrals and continue to grow.
In the beginning,
the other way,
it's
a little more difficult, because now they're just mad because they paid too much. So that would be it, right?
The top advice. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
my advice is, I had two things too, and there's many. I mean, there's many, but one of them was turn off that second guessing yourself in your head. Your head tends to compare to others. Oh, that person's doing it out there, I'm not going to be as good. Don't worry about what other people are doing, and just stop second guessing yourself and in your brain. You battle your brain. You battle your whole thoughts and thought patterns. You got to believe in yourself. I think that's a big one. And then the funny one, but it's not funny.
Get some new glasses.
Oh, there you go.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
What a change.
It makes you look smarter. You'll laugh at this one. Is no taxes. understand the world of business, the difference between an S corp and an LLC. You need to, what are write-offs? What are I mean,
I think you're
all
right.
those
No
things.
taxes. It's very presidential. No taxes at all.
No tax. KNOW.
I was like, I didn't know where you're going with this. I thought this was a very grand Cayman Islands sort of
No, entrepreneurs need to know how to run a business properly. You may think, I can just jump in, start an LLC. I mean, hey, hello, I've done that. But bottom line is, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get bit hard.
And
so I think it's important. Yeah,
no,
I think it's very important.
The numbers, holy cow, the numbers.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what you said, charging enough, knowing your numbers, knowing your write-offs, knowing the business side of it is something that comes along with the territory. It's like my least fun part of my business. I'm always like, we got to do taxes, we got to do payroll, we got to do this, but it's a necessity. You have to do it.
Anybody that's ever gotten really beat up in the tank on Shark Tank is because they didn't know their numbers. Right?
True.
And
you're right.
They're a huge part of it. But if you walk in and don't know your numbers and Kevin O'Leary's sitting there, torch job.
True.
Waiting to happen. So
True.
good.
Awesome.
Good stuff. This was fun. And not as scary as it could have been. Right? We didn't really depress anybody too much, and probably.
No, I think hopefully they walk away with some value tips. So take those 4. We just gave 4 different items. Terry gave 2, and I gave 2. And take those. Take action on it. Don't be afraid to be an entrepreneur. If you need to do it on the side of your business or your workplace while you're working, and start slow. Great, but I think
have a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 9, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, my favorite thing that you talked about was the investing back in your business, right? And I want to touch on that for half a second, because you can invest in business in terms of marketing tools or new software, but you should also be investing in you. Right. So the greatest investment
do that too.
Double down on what's going in here, because that's an important part.
That's really
and I want that to tie into your gut, because I think Janet's idea of trusting your instincts and trusting your intuition is absolutely brilliant. So good stuff.
Awesome. Well, so we'll end with you can find all our past podcast episodes at businessgrowthtime.com. / I always figure out
it's backslash.
Okay,
it's the one slash that you put in the URL.
Drives me crazy. Okay, anyway, / podcast or / blog. That easy, that simple. And then you can also find us and join our group on Facebook, which is called, you can just easily find that Business Growth Time, search it on Facebook, or it's businessgrowthtime.xyz. Subscribe to our podcast. We'd love to hear your reviews. We are every different place, iTunes, but we're beyond that because Terry's not an Apple fan, so we're everywhere. All right, thanks you guys. We appreciate you joining us.